Good evening and welcome to the Savage Universe stream on Thursday night. I am here with Mike Lafferty and Ross Watson. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me here tonight. We have too much stuff to talk about tonight. The lead has been thoroughly buried on actually what we're going to be talking about tonight. But gentlemen, thank you for joining me tonight. How are you doing?
Super. Thanks for asking. How about you, Ross? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us on, JM.
Always. Ross and I go back. I always just enjoy finding excuses to talk with him. And so here we are. We're actually going to talk about 4 different things, but we're going to start with a story that was being shared with me beforehand. Now, you guys do the Wild Cards podcast. Lots of episodes. We put them up on the Savage Universe calendar. But there is sort of a funny story about how this all came to be. Do you guys want to share that?
First of all, I want to say there's more shows coming. It's not like we're stopped.
Yeah.
But,
it's a live show. Like it's an ongoing show.
Yeah. So it turns out Mike Lafferty and I go to the same dog park in Colorado.
And we have images.
There's my basset hounds right there. Thank you, everybody.
Biscuit and Buddy.
Biscuit and Buddy. That's right.
And then we have
Dutch.
That's Dutch.
That's Mike's Great Dane.
All right.
So we were at the dog park together with just talking to each other about various things, and Mike's like, I do this podcast, the Banff podcast. He says, like, I could do one for Savage Worlds if you're interested. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm interested. Mike, you want to? I mean, that's basically how it went, right? I mean,
so you guys randomly lived in the same spot, randomly hit the same dog park, and we're like,
yeah.
So I like dogs in Savage Worlds. What are you doing here? And that's how this just sort of all came together.
Well, it's like most comic book stories. We started off with a fist fight, and then he had me down, and I was like, "Wait, save my Savage Worlds collection." He's like, "Why'd you say that?" And then we bonded.
Why did you say that name?
That's right. Save Suede.
Oh, reminds me of my wardrobe back in the 70s. But yeah, I saw Ross had a D20 on his hoodie one day, so we were talking about gaming. And then one thing led to another, and now we're doing Wild Cards. So
that's awesome. So talk about the show, because you're part of the Savage Worlds Media Network. We put all of the new episodes up on the Savage Universe calendar, link to the existing playlist. Tell us some of the things that you have talked about, what you enjoy about it, and what you're planning on talking about.
Well, our last episode, who was our guest, Ross? You remember?
Last episode, our guest was Sean Bircher.
Yeah, we talked all about the Superpowers Companion and doing supers in Savage Worlds, and it was a lot of fun.
So Wild Cards is a short, roughly 30-minute podcast that we record and also broadcast on Twitch. Mm-hmm. And we do it roughly every 2 weeks with, convention season and a few other things kind of getting in the way, but roughly every 2 weeks. And we talk about different things related to Savage Worlds, like settings, like the new companions or rules. We even have an episode that's all about chase rules and things like that.
Awesome.
Because we get requests from our listeners. And one guy was like, hey, can you talk about chase rules? So we did. And we kind of have a loose agenda of, discussing, say, strengths and weaknesses of a particular companion, or talking about like what we would do with the base construction rules or something along those lines. And we usually try to get a guest, if we can, who knows something about it. Like Sean Bircher is a great Savage Worlds rules guy, so we got him to come in and help us talk about the Savage Worlds super stuff. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically what Wild Cards is and what it's all about. Mike is the real muscle behind the show, because he is the guy who records it, edits it, gets the music and the logo. Literally, all I do is I show up and talk to people and ask questions.
You are the charisma and the talents, sir.
Look at this face. This is the charisma face.
That's right.
That's the moneymaker right there.
But Lafferty is definitely the muscle behind the show, and I couldn't do it without him. So big props to Mike for getting that all squared away.
It's a pleasure, sir. Glad to work with you. Hey, actually, I have a shareable link for the Wild Cards. playlist on BAM. I will shoot that over to you. And that's an ugly URL. I apologize.
Yeah.
See if I make that into a tiny URL that is not quite so.
All right, I'll wait on you.
It'll just take a second.
So we have a couple people commenting on Chase. Chase rules are something we haven't used yet, but GM James has plans. Knights of the Smith dinner table will be on Savage Universe here in the next couple of weeks, talking about some fun things. I'm looking forward to that. Chase built into our live stream, but you all went a different way. Awesome.
Yeah, chase rules are interesting, and there's a lot of different ways to incorporate them into your game, which we did discuss. But frankly, it's one of the things that's great about Savage Worlds, and we've talked about this on our show, is all the different subsystems that allow you to have a different type of experience at the table, like the dramatic task resolution, like mass combat rules, like chase rules, etc.
Yes, and one of the things that I love about Savage Worlds is they take, like you just said, they take this very simple base mechanic. Like Zane's been building characters all week while he's been convalescing, and he gets the system. His previous system that he was trying to grok Ross was Torg Eternity. He has found Savage Worlds much more welcoming. So I love that once you get the base system, all of these other things just let you zoom in and out of the narrative as you need to. So what's in the future for, do you have a schedule? Do you have wish lists? Do you have people that may be in the stream tonight that you could rope in for guest stars?
Oh, we would love to have you as a guest, JM.
I will. You let me know, man. I will be there.
Next weekend?
Yeah.
Not next weekend. I have people in town. But after that, 2 weeks after that, I am free.
Okay. Well, I mean, loosely, like I said, I want to talk about settings. Like, I would love to talk about Savage Lankamar. We already talked about Last Parsec. I'd like to talk about
Savage
Rippers.
Pathfinder. Yeah, Rippers would be fun.
I'd like to talk about Rippers and ETU. I think Mike is a lot more easygoing on agenda stuff. I think he's more like, hey, what do you want to talk about this week? But maybe he's got... Mike, did you have something you wanted to cover?
I've been podcasting for 10 years. I just kind of invite some interesting people and hope that fun happens. So I'm always interested in talking about sci-fi, but we covered that with the Sci-Fi Companion in our last Parsec show.
Yeah, but there's still Savage Robotech, Savage Rifts. There's quite a few sci-fi stuff to still talk about.
I have a deep and abiding love for Savage Rifts. So if you want to talk Savage Rifts, I will just expound.
All right. Savage Rifts would be a good one to talk about because I, worked on a lot of it. So that'd be fun. GM James is being volunteered.
Is being voluntold for an interview.
Yeah. Oh, and we've got
that'd be great.
Saints and Sinners tonight is also, we're going to talk about that, which is...
We are going to talk about Saints and Sinners tonight.
GM James, send us... Mike, what's the best way to contact the show?
If you look... I guess we don't have it. I'm at Banff Podcast on Twitter.
Okay. And
my DMs are always open, so hit me up there. That's probably the best way. You can find the Banff Podcast on Facebook, but Facebook messaging is kind of terrible for businesses. So just... at Banff Podcast on Twitter. I'll throw it in the private chat so Dan can throw it up.
I will be glad to do that.
Yeah, GM James, get in touch with Mike Lafferty, and we'll get you on the show as a guest.
Yeah, love to have you on there.
And I can always make introductions of the electronic kind if needed.
That would be perfect. Yeah. So. We'll have you on, I guess, in 3 weeks, it sounds like. And beyond that, we did Savage Pathfinder. I feel like there's a lot of horror stuff we haven't covered yet. I know we talked about horror gaming in general, but there's been a kind of a bumper crop of horror.
The Horror Companion is fairly recent, too, so we should talk about that. And we could talk about Accursed, which is also a horror setting. And I got plenty of stuff to talk about with horror, but we should definitely grab some of our friends to come on board and talk about that with us. That'd be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Now, on Savage Universe, we talk about all things licensee related, whether it's podcasts or, fan products, swag, aces. And it turns out we have a veritable gold mine may I say, a ghost rock mine of things to talk about tonight. So let's start with Ross. So Ross, last time you were on, we talked about Knights Arcanum, and I am so looking forward to this. Like, I'm excited for everything coming out from Star Anvil Studios.
Awesome.
We also have something new. You got a new product. I'll throw up the logo for it. Let me pull this up. So talk to me about this.
The Secret World. Okay,
Yes.
so the Secret World is, or I should say, was a very popular MMO for a while. And we have the license to create our role-playing game based on that from the owners, Funcom. Hopefully Mike is coming back and it's just technical difficulties.
Just technical difficulties.
So the Secret World
I played the Secret World.
Okay. So the setting of the Secret World is basically like all the conspiracy theories that you've ever heard are real. All the cryptids are real. And there's these factions that are trying to shape the future and destiny of mankind and the human race. But there's also cosmic entities and monsters and foulness from beyond the stars that is trying to mess it all up. And you play as a group of what are called bees, your people that have been chosen, selected by Gaia, the spirit of the earth, basically, to I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically you play these bees and you are a group that's trying to stave off the destruction of the world. And at the same time, advance the goals of your particular secret society.
Now, do you have the 3 secret societies? Do you have...
Oh, yeah. All that and more. So there's 3 main big secret societies. There's the Dragon, the Illuminati, and the Templars. They all have radically different approaches to how they want to, save the world. But nevertheless, you are a group composed of all of these different factions working together.
Now, we have some art. I assume that was sent to me to share about on the stream, as opposed to
yes,
drool at. You want to talk about some of these pieces?
Sure.
All right, let's see if this layout works out well for me.
Oh, so I should mention that the Secret World was kickstarted last year for 5e, but we have plans to kickstart it this year for Savage Worlds. There will be a Savage Worlds edition. All right, so yeah, this is one of the monsters from the Secret World. My partner, Brandon Verhalen, is actually the art director, and I should let him take full credit for how awesome this looks.
These pieces are amazing.
What have you got next?
All right, so that was the Incubus. We've got this guy.
Incubus, that's right. Oh God, yeah, those things. There's a lot of Lovecraft influence in the Secret World.
Jared Leto's having a bad year.
He's feeling a bit crabby right now. It looks like.
Oh.
We've got the Revenant.
The Revenant. That's our showstopper right there.
That thing is gorgeous.
I like to show this when people are like, "So what kind of art is in this book?"
Like this art.
Yeah, Revenant is super badass.
And then the Mummy. Hand of the 10.
Yeah, it's one of the mummies. We've got some really great artists, and like I said, my partner Brandon is in charge of all the art, so he makes it look really good. We even have part of the Kickstarter is going to be an art book for the Secret World. And if you are a fan of the Secret World, even if you're not a role-playing guy, or you maybe even don't even like the system or whatever, the Secret World RPG is like a big old coffee table book full of all the lore, and it's all been run through the lore. Our lore master is one of the guys who worked on the game, the original MMO, and Funcom's approving everything. So this is actually like when the RPG is released, it's going to be fully.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fully Secret World, if you will.
One of my favorite memories from playing the Secret World was when they give you the tutorial and they're like, this is how you open up your web browser in the game. And I'm like, well, why would I need a web browser? Oh, I have to do actual research.
Yeah.
In the middle of this game. This is amazing.
So ETU Circuit, which I believe is Sarah Martinez, says there's so much lore to dive through for it. And I should mention Sarah Martinez. There she is. Sarah Martinez is one of our writers and did a fantastic job writing for this. Sarah and her husband, Chris, you may know, are big Savage Worlds guys. They do a lot in the community, so really excited to
Awesome.
have this. There's some of the artists we work with. They're listed there from Brandon. Thank you for bringing that up. Ron Root, Annie Gosh, and Alberto Bontempi are some of our standout artists.
Very cool. So the plan is to do a Savage World version of the
Yes.
game. Do we have timelines that I cannot legally hold you to, but would very much like to hear?
2023.
Okay.
that's the best I can give you right now.
Hey,
Our plan.
that is perfect.
So we've got to, as I was saying, we got to run everything through Funcom, and currently the whole manuscript's at them for approval. So we have to kind of jump that hurdle first, and then we can start working on like other stuff. But yeah, that's where we're at.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very, very cool. I'm looking forward to this. What was your favorite part about working on this project?
So there's a lot, but one of the more interesting things about the Secret World is the way that the cryptids are all like real things, and the kind of I had my own like discovery of the deep lore of Secret World. Yeah, the Savage World, Secret World, random nerddom. Thank you.
That's right.
SW. So I did my own deep dive into the lore and found some really crazy stuff. The Secret World's lore is really interesting, really unique, and it's full of a lot of really crazy, cool stuff. And that's I think the part that I enjoyed the most was just getting to know this deep and immersive setting.
Yeah,
it's unlike anything I've ever seen.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this at the table because, again, like I said, it was one of my favorite MMOs back in the day. It was difficult to overcome some of the hurdles of the game, but it was so unlike anything I'd ever played up until that point.
Sawo Siwo.
That's right. This, Savage Secret Worlds, love it. That always, I feel like the biggest. Ross, I know you're a Warhammer fan.
Oh yeah,
right. I feel like it should just have been called Total Warhammer as opposed to Total War Warhammer. I always felt like that was just a missed marketing opportunity.
I don't know what to tell you on that one, but I can say that the Savage World Secret World is something we are excited to say a lot. So
I'm very excited about that one. Now, Mike, you are part of an ACE license as well. Tell us about your company. Tell us about the After.
I beat Shane Hensley in a hand of poker at a dingy little dive bar, and so he was forced to let us into the ACE program. It was kind of dicey up until that point. But yeah, we have published a game, kind of our flagship offering for the After. For Suede is called the After. It's we kind of bill it as what if Jeremiah Johnson met the Revenant, the DiCaprio movie. It's sort of a frontier survival post-apocalypse.
It's like a log cabin post-apocalypse.
Log cabin in Winnebago post-apocalypse.
This image is gorgeous. Tell me about this. It's called Chapter.
Everything is set in the Wind River Valley in Wyoming, which is actually a place that really exists. Some of the adventures I just edited for a new adventure companion we're put out with actually refer to real life landmarks and roads up there. Chapter is kind of one of the bright embers of light, as people will try to, reclaim the world, reestablish civilization. This is sort of a home base that PCs can use. Chapter has an extensive library, and there's, city elders there are eager to work with the PCs and, have various missions for them. What's happened to the world, just to give you some context, is aliens invaded. And do you have the explicit tag on this podcast? Or
we do not.
They fudged stuff up so hard. And, there was, the aliens showed, the initial aliens were called the Butchers, and then some other aliens who didn't like them called the Ghosts showed up. And it was just, sci-fi battle, destroying the planet. And now everything's kind of a patchwork of, hey, Christopher Landauer, how you doing, sir? There's large swaths of the planet that still look and seem normal. But then there's, other places where, everything's been terraformed and transformed and messed up by the war. Sort of analogous to how, like, in France, to this day, you have the red zones that are places that are still toxic and messed up from World War I. So there's some zones where things are very, very bizarre. And John Gibbons did this art here.
This is gorgeous.
Yeah. John is the creator of the After. He's an artist over in UK. He runs Jade Monkey Studios, and beautiful, beautiful art. And I want to say every 3 to 4 pages in the After, we've got a piece like this. This one's called the Return. I want to say the Return of the Horse, and just beautiful, beautiful pieces. Very atmospheric. We kickstarted this a few years back, pre-COVID, in the before times, and we have since kickstarted 2 adventure compendiums for it. And the fan response has just been great. Really love the Savage fans, love the warm welcome they've given us, and it's been a really fun product for it, and we look forward to supporting it for years to come. So.
So we'll put a link in the show notes to the drive-through link. We're going to do an article on the After on Savage Universe here, late this week, early next week. But MW Duo summed up what I was about to say. The setting sounds amazing. Can you give us in some post-apocalyptic settings, you can kind of do anything. What's kind of the focus? Like, what are some of the archetypes that people can play here in the After? I put you on the spot. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. Let me just read the description real fast for you, just to give you some context. The After set the northwest reaches of the broken North American continent. You play survivors of a shattered human race trying to rebuild the world after nearly a century of alien predation and war. Destructive invasion of Earth, followed by a terrifying war between two rival alien species, far more advanced than mankind, has left the Earth a broken version of its former self. Major cities and areas of industrial and military strength have been completely obliterated. Only in the world's most sparsely populated areas people survived, areas that were ignored by the rampaging alien forces. It's now a world of great change, but also great opportunity, a strange world to explore and forge a new home in. With the collapse of modern civilization, survivors must return to the old ways, find inspiration and knowledge utilized by frontiersmen and native people who lived and prospered in North America centuries before. New bonds must be formed. New settlements require aid and protection in the war-ravaged ruins of pre-harvest Earth need to be explored for the knowledge and resources. The war is over. The enemy has gone. Reclaim the Earth.
Awesome. I just put the link to the After in the chat. It does come as a shock to me that John Doom would own a copy of the After and the Tales from the Trail.
Tales from the Trail. Yeah, that's our adventure compendium. Yeah.
It sounds like John just has. I'm shocked that you have Savage Worlds books, John. Just shocked.
I should also mention Sean Noakes, who is a good friend of mine from back in Indiana. He is still back there in the cornfield. He hasn't managed to find the wider world outside of Indiana, but he is the author of most of the After content.
Awesome.
And did great stuff there. So.
Well, I cannot wait to get a copy of this in, and I'm excited about it. Like, it is, I love post-apocalyptic, and I love the fact that this is a mashup that I have not necessarily seen before.
Yeah, we're doing, like I say, it's kind of a different variation on a Western post-apocalypse, just focusing more on the frontier and the survival of it. So it's a fun amalgam of different inspirations. So Indiana for the win, yes. Whenever I fly over that state, I always look out and salute the corn and soy as I fly over.
That's right. Wave fondly.
I can't say I was there for 20 years, so I can't say anything bad about it. But
it's like me in Illinois. Was there for 20 years and then wasn't.
I have this theory that you could really use, especially in the small towns in the southern parts of both of those states. You could use, so many of the towns have the same name, and I think you could just use the same maps. Like if you didn't know you're in Illinois, you had an Indiana map, I think you'd still get where you wanted to go. It would just take you longer, and you might not even realize you weren't in a different state because it's all this big ocean of corn and soybeans wherever you look.
I went to college in Kankakee, Illinois, and
I used to have family there. Yeah,
just end up in Indiana.
When I was at Purdue, I once knew a girl. This is in the before GPS. She was driving from Indiana, and she meant to stop like in Crown Point, but she got distracted and wasn't looking at the signs. And she looked up; it was 2 hours later, and she was somewhere in Michigan.
Yeah,
and she hadn't realized it happened. So
yeah, I have definitely done when MapQuest was new. Put in like Bloomington thinking I was going to Bloomington, Illinois, and ended up somewhere in Indiana. Because I just was like, Bloomington, done, let's go. And
yeah. Bloomington, Indiana is nice for what it's worth if you ever get around there.
Yeah. So it looks like Knights of the Smith's Dinner Table are looking at doing an actual play of the After at some point.
Dude, that would be awesome. We would love to see that.
Now we have a question from them. Let's use this as our segue here. Tell us about your favorite TTRPG setting and type, and why it's post-apocalyptic.
I love westerns, and I like the post-apocalyptic settings that are kind of a spin on, it's kind of a modern take on the western, if you will. So I've always enjoyed that.
Yeah, this is truth, by the way. 2 hours driving in Texas just means you've got more Texas to get through. I think it's 12 hours. It's 12 hours to get from me to Ross, and I think all but an hour and a half of that is not Texas.
Yeah, like it took me 10 hours just to get out of the state from Austin.
Yeah,
so I was like, oh my god,
100%, Tink, 100%.
Yep.
Well, and this is the setting that got me into Savage Worlds. I have always been a huge Rifts fan. And Rifts is massively, it's actually like, I would argue post-apocalypse. Like we're coming to the end of the post-apocalypse. I would also argue Glorantha by Greg Stafford is technically a post-apocalyptic setting. Like
interesting.
They're still in the aftermath of many little apocalypses. What about you, Ross? What's your favorite post-apocalyptic setting?
Well, I was going to say for Glorantha, it's probably all the fault of the ducks. Frankly.
That's right. It's probably. This is why Ross and I are friends. He gets my obscure references.
Favorite post-apocalyptic setting? That's pretty tough. There's a lot of really good ones. There's Gamma World. There's the After. There's Rifts. Gee, honestly, I don't know. I can't pick any. They're all really good.
Yeah. A guy Canadian I know named David Oakham Arts is the name of his company. He was talking about Gamma World one day online, and he misspelled it as Grandma World. And someone dared him, so he wrote
he wrote completely different game.
He wrote an RPG about
swag program.
Yeah, he wrote an RPG about solving mysteries with your basically the Golden Girls meets Scooby-Doo kind of put together. And he calls it Grandma World, and it's right now in Great RPG. Yeah, Golden
Girls.
I feel like this is a job for Midjourney. Let's see what horrific things the AI can bring to life. All right, Ross. There's still more to talk about that you are working on. Tell us about Saints and Sinners.
Okay, so Saints and Sinners is a gritty, edge of the galaxy style sci-fi setting where you play as adventurers, basically, for either the Saint organization or the Syndicates, depending, out on this rim of the galaxy type area. There are lots of different alien races. There's psionic powers, there's hacking, there's all kinds of really cool cybernetics and stuff like that. It's a really fun setting, and we have some really interesting rules on like how to build your type of crew in the Saints and Sinners universe. Yeah, Noir, thank you. Sean Bircher, everybody, Catamount 73, did a lot of work on this, so
so this is the cover, yes, or at least the cover of the campaign is what my notes say.
This is we do not have a final for the Savage Worlds cover. This might be it, but we haven't gotten that quite to that point yet.
All right.
My friend Scott Crossan says it has actual Batmen. That is true. There are bat-like aliens. There's
I
one of
love
them
this
right
piece.
there. Yeah, there's one of them right there. So if you can imagine sort of a gritty noir set in the edge of Star Wars space, it's basically kind of the Mandalorian in a lot of ways. So that's Saints and Sinners, and we have a lot of really great products coming for that. We've got a great Jumpstart that's almost completely done. We've got the core book. We've got I've actually written a mini setting for it that we're going to come out with at some point, and we have an expansion that Scott Grusson wants to work on about the Bounty Hunters Guild.
Man, the art looks amazing. It's so evocative.
Yeah,
when
pirates, bounty
yeah.
hunters, assassins,
Also
organized crime versus, special forces soldiers on the rim of the galaxy. It's pretty sweet.
Well, when that Jumpstart hits, we'll have you back on Savage Universe, and we'll talk about that. We'll do an article on Savage Universe. If you guys follow the news, we'll make sure that it is front and center when the Jumpstart hits.
Did we lose Mike Lafferty?
He's had to step away for a second. So
okay. That's fine.
Oh, and
okay,
he's
cool.
back. Ta-da!
Hey.
There he is. All right.
The magic of digital editing.
It's like Matt just appeared. So yeah, Saints and Sinners is. I actually ran a game of this at ChippaCopperCon very recently, and so did Brandon. We were both there. It was pretty awesome. Hey, Robin Bircher, good to see you. Organized Crime. Yes, she worked. Robin is in fact the author of the Syndicate stuff. So
awesome.
When she says "woohoo, organized crime," she knows what she's talking about. So yeah, Saints and Sinners, and that is going to be. We're looking at a 2024. Well, depends.
Right.
Because that actually is getting really close. That is potentially a 2023 release. So
awesome. Well, we'll obviously keep everyone updated through Savage Universe. Obviously, you'll have your own marketing stuff, but any way that we can help, that's what I do at Pinnacle. I signal boost all of the cool stuff that is going on. It's the coolest gig I have. I get to just talk about awesome Savage Worlds products.
Sean Bircher says he also ran a game at ChippaCopperCon, which he did.
Awesome. So, do you have any other local or other cons that you plan on going to kind of?
Tacticon will be coming up here in August, and we plan to attend there. I will be also running Saints and Sinners there as well.
Mike, will you be there running the after? He said.
Hopefully.
I have a kid and a wife who was not sympathetic about me taking a whole day out on a weekend to so it's not likely, but
that is fair. That is fair.
If I can get someone else to rent it for me there, I'd be happy to kick in for a con badge or a bar tab or whatever it might take.
Awesome. You heard it here, folks. Run the after at Tacticon.
Hey Ross, you want to run the after at Tacticon?
Me, no, okay. Not really, no. But I've got a full dance card.
I'll buy you nachos.
Ooh, tempting.
It is tempting.
Let's talk about it after the show.
Awesome. Well, guys, go ahead, Russ.
I was just saying, Sarah says she's still trying to figure out what she's going to run at Tacticon. I encourage you, if you ever have a chance to play in a Sarah Martinez game, you should. She's a very good game master.
Do you know when the badges go on sale for Tacticon and when events are?
I think events are being submitted now, if I remember correctly. But I am not an expert. I do not know for certain on that.
Hey Sarah, if you want to run the after, I'll pay for your con badge and maybe some nachos. Jan can put you in touch with me if you're interested.
That's right.
There you go. Sarah, you've got an opportunity for a sponsored game. So
that's right. You said you needed to know what you wanted to run. The after is open. It is on the table.
Look at this show. It's already bringing people together.
It's what we do. we put everyone in the Savage Universe together and just kind of stir them around.
It's like a blender.
Knights, are either of you guys going to Gen Con? Are you guys going to be running any games there?
I got to see if the warrants have expired in Indiana. I'm not sure if I can get back in that state yet, but Ross, you're going, right?
No, I'm not. I'm not doing Gen Con this year, unfortunately. Okay. Too much work, but
I know that some of the PEG people are going to be at Gen Con, so maybe we'll do a pre-Gen Con stream and kind of see who all is going to be there and see if we can't organize like a Savage pub crawl or something like that.
Ooh. You have my attention.
Well, now Ross is like, wait a second, hold on. I may be in.
No, I still can't make it, but boy, that sounds fun.
So you guys have a lot of stuff going on with a lot of different aspects of the Savage Worlds licenses. How have you guys? I mean, we talked a little bit about this when we were talking about Knights Arcanum in the original inaugural Savage Universe stream. But if you could encourage any authors out there, if you could give anybody any pieces of advice or little tips for using the Savage Worlds Ace or Swag license, what would you give?
Well, I mean, it's never been easier to make products for electronic, especially electronic PDFs and stuff like that. If you feel like you want to do it, then do it. And I would say the number one thing you can do to make yourself good at it is to look at all the official books and get that style down in your head. Because, spells are italicized, and just learn that style, learn what you need to write in what order, and you can start cranking them out, because Savage Worlds is it's such a big system. It can cover almost anything, really. So find a niche that hasn't been filled and jump in with both feet. That's what I say.
I would second what Walt, but I almost called you Walt. Sorry, he's my usual co-host on podcasts. I would second what Ross has said. Find a niche that you like that isn't filled. Because there's nothing more fun than reading a book. You can tell it's a labor of love. Someone really enjoyed that content. And, conversely, sometimes you read something, you're like, oh, this guy was trying really hard. This was clearly a slog to get out. No one's making tons of money in RPGs except for Shane Hensley. So embrace it as a hobby. Do something you really like and bring it to life. Having said that, we could use a lot more superhero content for Savage Worlds. So
I will say, I'm keying off both of you. One, use the PEG style guide. It is available on Savage Universe. If you go over to Getting Started, that gives you. You just need to search it. I was using it today. How do I present minor hindrances in a stat block? It's right there. It is a remarkably useful document if you want to write for Savage Worlds. And then, as Mike said, you can tell when someone clearly loved something. I will be honest, I was not initially sold on Holler until I was reading through it, and you clearly can feel how much the authors love the Appalachian setting and folklore, and that just drew me in. And now I can't wait to get Holler onto a table. Ross.
So Lafferty said something interesting. He said we need more content for supers.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I have in the works. It's just getting some final art for Star Anvil Studios. It's called Enemies Unleashed. And it is a book of bad guys for Savage Supers and Prowlers of Paragons. And it is 15 of the highest quality bad guys and villains that we could come up with. I reached out to some old school guys like Bill Coffin and Scott Heine and Jared Twing. I reached out to a lot of really talented writers, and we got a really sweet Bill Keys also. We got a really sweet selection of villains for your super hero game, and that's coming soon, so keep an eye out for that one.
Let me know when it goes live and we'll do an article on it. Again, man, I'm a huge Bill Coffin fanboy.
Oh, me too.
Western Empire was the first book of his I remember reading and being just completely blown away by everything he crammed into that book. And
you should check out Septimus.
Yes, Septimus is amazing.
Oh yeah, there you go. So you've seen Septimus. Okay, so yeah. Bill's a very talented guy and a good friend. So awesome. I was like, you might be done with superheroes, but if you want, and he was like, sure, I'm writing a novel about them, and I was like, okay, great. Yeah, see, John V. Adams knows what's up.
Take my money.
Take my money. Yep. Yeah. So awesome. That's exciting, and thanks to Lafferty for reminding me about that one.
I'm here to team up for you like that, Ross.
All right. Well, that's what we had jam-packed into 40 minutes of Savage Universe. We talked about Wild Cards. We talked about Saints and Sinners, the After, and I know I'm missing the first one that we talked about,
The Secret World. Yeah.
How did I forget the Secret World?
It's secret.
It's 'cause it is a secret. The first rule about Secret World is you don't talk about the Secret World.
I know we were joking earlier, but if anyone is interested in running the After at a convention, we've been trying to encourage that. So hit me up. JM can give you my email or find me at Man Podcast on Twitter, and we can hook you up with some PDFs or convention badges or whatever we can to help make it happen. So
reach out to me at info@savageuniverse.com and I'd be like, hey, I'm trying to do something with the After. I will get you in touch with Mike.
Yeah, and I'm not kidding. Love to talk to you. We'd be very happy to hook you up with something.
Very cool. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on to Savage Universe. I look forward to talking with both of you again in the future as one, we do some wild cards, and two, as some of the stuff that we've talked about here tonight comes into the digital space and into Kickstarter and into physical space. I want to be there signal boosting that for all of you.
Thank you very much for having me. If you want to check out the stuff that we're working on, it's staranvilstudios.com. Mike has got his own website for Fainting Goat Games. What is that website, Mike?
If you just go to Direct to RPG and search Fainting Goat Games, that's where I'm at. Don't have a separate web presence. We're on Facebook too because we're cool. That's where the cool kids hang out.
Thank you very much for having us on tonight.
Always.
My pleasure, JM. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, gentlemen, have a wonderful evening. Everyone out in the Savage Universe, go out and play some Savage Worlds. May all your dice ace, and we will see you here next Thursday. I will be gone, but Landauer will be here, and he will be talking with Yep, he'll be talking with somebody. I think I mentioned it earlier. I think he's talking with Adventures in Lollygagging about their actual plays. So, till next time, we'll see you all later.
See ya.